live streaming via Facebook and via Skype audio as well. Good morning, everyone. Eternity is God, a vertical movement. You can light as many candles, as many lamps, but the inner darkness will not vanish. Hindus celebrate Diwali as the return of their idol Ram to his kingdom. And we accustomed celebrating that the real celebration will happen the day you will return to your home. The real lamps will be lit when you return to your kingdom, your innerness. That is the only meaning. And the day you return to your kingdom, a new light, a new life will begin. Time belongs to the realm of the world. Eternity is God. All the movement from horizontal to vertical begins with the process of initiation. Without that, the inward journey does not happen. Initiation means you are connected to the master in a subtle way. You can be a student, certainly, but there is a vast difference. A student means you are on the surface, you are coming to collect certain information, you like a post, you go on sharing, and on Facebook you click the like icon. But that is not a spiritual journey. That is simply remaining on the surface. And the real journey begins when the love affair, the love affair begins. You are connected to the innerness of the awakened one, the subtle presence, not the physical. Nothing is wrong in connecting to the physical presence, but the subtle presence is the one that is most important. And also, when you are initiated to one, it does not need you have to initiate to every master when you go in the company. The moment you enter the university, you are initiated. You can go to any professor if you are intelligent enough. The other professors will invite you and they will want to share their insights with you. It's not that you have to register or do something. Once spirituality is a big cosmic university. All the masters of the past, current, and those who will appear are known to Buddha through his Buddha cognition. Are known to Buddha through his Buddha cognition. This assurance Buddha gave to Subhuti when he asked, will there be any master after 500 years who will understand these sutras when they are spoken? When a disciple, a seeker asks a question like this, the master speaks with full attention towards him, looking into his eyes in a low voice, almost like a gesture. Do not see things like these, Subhuti. Do not say things like these. I can feel the gesture that Buddha would have used at that moment. You can use your imagination. Subhuti, do not ask questions like these. It does not befit you. There will always be Buddhas who will understand the essence of these sutras when they are spoken. These messages are like ocean. You pick up, you have tasted the ocean water, and wherever you take a drop from, it will have the same taste. Time is a horizontal movement. It is finite, and it represents the world of finiteness, the world of duality. And eternity is vertical movement. It represents godliness, God. All horizontal movements are part of your finite world, and vertical movements are journey into eternity. All vertical movements are journey into eternity. Everyone should come for this session a few minutes before and set their system in order, so that others are not put into inconvenience. As such as you are, your movement is horizontal. Movement from if we draw a graph between x-axis and y-axis according to Euclidean geometry, the horizontal movement along the x-axis represents the world. You are on the surface. The movement is only of distance. You move from past to future, skipping the present moment. And the movement along the y-axis is a vertical movement. You enter into depth. or you enter into height. The vertical movement represents a journey into eternity or God. When you are with someone, this always happens even in your ordinary love affairs. You are with your spouse, but you are not. You are only together physically, but the subtle presence is not there. The transformation, the change happens when you move from the physical presence to the subtle presence. In a situation like this, when there is a constant disturbance, I was trying to see if I could disconnect that person, but you disconnect yourself and go on to the other line. So this is, whatever I am speaking is going in the recording. If this disturbance continues, I will have to take off the person from the Skype group. It is easier for you to drop out and switch over to Facebook streaming. While you are with a master, be with him, be totally in the dimension of here now, and in that very state, you will learn a new mode of movement. And with that, your journey into eternity can begin. Your journey into eternity can begin. While you are here with me, as part of this communion, be totally here. You will learn a new mode of movement, and with that, you can move into eternity. I have to disconnect this Skype completely. Only streaming via Facebook. While you are here with me, be with me totally. And this applies to ordinary way of life also. When you are with your spouse, be totally with him or her. You can learn a new movement, new mode of movement, and with that, you can move into eternity, not into time. Time is the world and eternity is God. Horizontal is the world, vertical is God, and both meet at a point. That is where Jesus is crucified. This is significant. The movement from horizontal to vertical is death and resurrection simultaneously. At this point, where horizontal and vertical intersect one another, the finite is disappearing. The finite is dissolving into infinite. And only when the finite dissolves into infinite, a new journey begins. According to Sufi, when the vertical, the finite begins to disappear, it is fana. You are dissolving into the infinite. And then a new journey begins. The journey of Baka. You are oceanic now. Your transcendence begins a vertical movement. And that is why it is resurrection. And these two things happen simultaneously. Death of the finite and birth of the infinite happens simultaneously. That is why significantly at the point where the horizontal and vertical intersect one another, that point is considered to be the Sacred Heart. A very significant point. That point, which Christians call as Sacred Heart, is nothing else but here now. From here and now, you can go into two journeys. One, either you can move into the world of duality, conflict, or you can move into bliss, inner oneness. You can begin the journey into the world in future, the other into God, into depth. Become more and more aware, alert and sensitive to the present. How can it become possible? You are so fast asleep that you can make that a dream as well. You can make that itself a thinking object, a thinking process. You can become so tense about it that just because of it you cannot be in the present moment. If you think too much about how to be in the present, then thinking has just entered and it will not help you in any way. If you feel too much guilt, you move immediately into the past. It has been such a long routine and movement, and sometimes you will start thinking about the future immediately. You will feel guilty that you have committed a sin again. Never become guilty. Understand this sin, but do not become guilty. And this is very, very delicate. If you become guilty, you have missed the whole thing, the whole point. Now it is a new way. The old pattern starts, and you feel guilty because you have missed this very moment, the present. You start thinking about the past because the present is no longer present. It is now past, and you are feeling guilty about it. You are still missing. So remember one thing: whenever you remember that you have gone to the past or moved into the future, do not create a problem out of it. Instead, simply come to the present, not creating any problem. It is okay. Simply bring back your awareness. You will miss many a times. Maybe 1,000,000 times you will miss. It is not going to happen right now, immediately. It can happen, but it cannot happen because of you. You have such a long, fixed mode of behavior that you cannot change it instantaneously in this very moment. There is no worry. There is no worry about it. God is not in a hurry for you to remember Him now. It can wait till eternity. Do not create a tension about it that you are missing time, missing opportunity. Whenever you feel you have missed, come back. And that is all. If you start feeling that you have missed the opportunity, each session that takes place is independent of the other. The words, the message may look it is a continuation, but it is present. Even if today's message is heard and absorbed totally, that is enough to bring about the transformation. The words may be different. The message may look to be different, apparently. But the subtle presence, the essence that goes on behind every syllable, every word, carries the same effect. So do not create tension about it. Whenever you feel you have missed, come back. And that is all. There is no need to feel guilty. Guilt is a trick of the mind. Now, it is again playing a game. Do not repent that you have forgotten. Just when you think so, come back to whenever you are, to whatsoever you are doing. You are taking a bath, eating your meals, going for a walk, come back. Return. In your smartphone, you have to return whatever you are doing. You remove that screen, and less options are available, are open then. The moment you feel you are not here and now, come back simply and innocently. There is no need to create any guilt. If you become guilty, then you will miss the point. There is sin and there is no guilt. But difficult for you. If you feel there is something wrong, immediately you begin to feel guilty about it. If you You are traveling, driving, and you miss the road, the turn where you have to take. You missed it. There is no need to feel guilty. You missed it, you can come back again to the same thing. And this coming back again, the moment you remember that you have taken a wrong route, pause for a moment. And what you do if you are using a GPS system. Originally, your GPS system is set before your journey begins. The moment you are born, your GPS system is already set for inward journey. You may switch it off. You may move to the other programs. But it remains like an undercurrent. The moment it gets an opportunity, it comes and it starts back again. So if you miss a point, immediately the mind feels guilty. There is no need to feel guilty. Mind is very cunning. If you become guilty, the game has started all over again, but on the new ground. But the game is same old. People say we go on forgetting, and suddenly they become sad. We try, but we remember only after a few seconds, or we remember for a few seconds and then we forget. We remain alert, self-remembering. Again, it is lost. What to do? Nothing can be done. It is not a question of doing at all. What can you do? The only thing that can be done is not to create any guilt feeling. Simply return, come back. The more you come back simply, that is the only thing that you have to remember. But remember not to return with a very serious face or much effort. Return simply and innocently, without creating a problem out of it, because eternity has no problems. All problems exist on the horizontal plane. So too this question will also exist on the horizontal plane. The moment you move from horizontal to the vertical plane, a new journey begins, and it is a sheer delight without any anxiety, anguish, worry, guilt or anything else. Be simple and come back. That is why Jesus had to die. And so too, everyone has to die as you are. An initiation is the process to begin a new movement, a new journey. You will miss many times because it is taken for granted, but there is no need to worry about it. That is how it is. You will miss many a times, but that is not the point. Do not pay much attention to the fact that you have missed many times. Pay attention to the fact that you have regained many times. If you have missed 5 times, you have regained 5 times also. But mind naturally remembers that I forget again and again, but you remember, you forget and you come back again. The emphasis should not be on that you missed many times, it should be that you regained remembrance many times. Because each time you miss, you come back and you regain. Feel happy about it. That you miss, of course, is as it should be. Because each time you stumble, it gives you an opportunity to stand up, and stand up with a new vigor, new energy. You miss, of course, is as it should be. You are human, have lived on the horizontal plane for many, many lives. So it is natural to happen. The beauty is that many times you come back. You have done the impossible, that you have returned, you have regained. Feel happy about it. In 24 hours, 24,000 times you will miss, but 24,000 times you will regain. You will recall this figure 24,000. That is an important number according to Islamic tradition. Remembrance of God on each breath 24,000 times. In 24 hours, 24,000 times you miss, but significantly you regain 24,000 times. Now a new mode will start functioning. So many times you come back home, but now a new dimension is breaking in by and by. More and more you will be able to stay in awareness, and less you will go back and forth. The span of going back and forth will be smaller and smaller. Less and less you will forget. More and more you will remember. With this, you are entering the vertical dimension. Suddenly one day the horizontal disappears. Intensity comes to awareness, and horizontal disappears totally. That is the reason behind Shankar, Vedanta and Hindus calling this world illusory. Because when awareness becomes perfect, the world that you have created out of your mind simply disappears, and another world becomes open to you. The illusion disappears. Illusion is there because you are asleep, you are unconscious. It is just like a dream. In the night you move in a dream, and when the dream is there, everything seems to be true. Have you ever thought in a dream that this is not possible? Impossible happens in dream. Impossible happens in dream, but you cannot doubt it when it is happening. In a dream you have such faith that nobody is skeptical. Not even a Bertrand Russell. No, in dream everybody is like a child, trusting whatsoever happens. You see your wife coming in a dream, suddenly she becomes a horse. Not for a single moment do you say, how can this be possible? How can she become a horse? Dream is trust. Dream is trust. It's faith. You cannot doubt in a dream. Once you start doubting in a dream, the rules are broken. The rules of dream is trust and faith. The moment you start doubting in dream, the dream sequence is broken. Once you doubt, the dream starts disappearing. If even once you can remember that it is a dream, suddenly this will become a shock and the dream will shatter and you will be fully awake. The world that you see around you is not the real. Not that it does not exist. Certainly it exists. But you are seeing it through the screen of sleep, through the sleepy eyes. The unconsciousness is in between. You look at it you interpret it in your own way, but you are just like a drunkard. I have heard. One day Mullah Nasruddin came running. He was totally drunk, and the man who was operating the elevator was just going to close the door, but Mullah somehow darted in. The elevator was overcrowded. Everyone became aware that Mullah was very drunk. Even his breath smelled. He tried to pretend as if he faced towards the door, but he could not see anything as his eyes too were drunk and sleepy. Somehow he was trying to stand, but that is not possible either. And then he felt very embarrassed because everyone knew him. Everybody was looking and everybody was thinking that he was completely drunk. Mullah could feel that. Then he suddenly forgot where he was and he said, "You must be wondering why I called this meeting." Seeing that so many people were around, he thought that he had called a meeting and that people were wondering why. By and by morning he was okay. And then he laughed himself, just as you are laughing. All Buddhas have laughed when they awaken. That is why the moment enlightenment happens, the first thing happens naturally. You begin to laugh. Their laughter is like a lion's roar. They laugh not at you. Instead, they laugh at the whole cosmic joke. They lived in a dream, in a sleep, intoxicated completely by desire, and through desire they looked at the existence. Then it was not the real existence. They projected their own sleep into it. You are taking the whole existence as a screen, and then you project your own mind on it, and you see things which are not there. You are taking the whole existence as a screen, everything that is around you. You project your own mind on it and start seeing things which are not there. And you don't see things that are there. This is what happens. The mind has explanation for everything. This is where the confusion, conflict begins. You are walking, you are talking to someone. Maybe the person of the opposite sex, somebody sees you. He starts projecting things. The mind gives its own explanations. If you raise a doubt, mind gives another explanation. Mind creates theories, philosophies, systems just to feel comfortable, and nothing is wrong in it. All philosophies exist to make life convenient so that everything looks okay. Nothing is wrong. However, everything is wrong while you are asleep. Everything is wrong while you are asleep. And the moment you wake up is a totally different journey, a totally different thing happens. And this philosophy, this acts as a tranquilizer that keeps you in a state of intoxication. So when you feel that you have missed, you return. There is no need to feel guilty about it. Just as when you are traveling around the road, you miss a turn, you can return back. Nothing is wrong in that. All philosophies are tranquilizers because they put you to sleep and you start dreaming and thinking again. I have heard a man came to a Sufi. He was worried. He had a beautiful daughter. He was very much worried because every morning she feels a little sick. He had been to all kinds of doctors and they all said nothing is wrong, so what to do? The Sufi then told him that you can go to Mullah Nasruddin, as he is the only wise guy around here and he knows everything, because I have never heard him say, I do not know. You go to Mullah. The person went to Mullah. The Sufi also followed to see what Mullah would say. Mullah closed his eyes, contemplated on the problem, and then he opened his eyes. And said, do you give her milk before she goes to bed at night? The man said yes. Nasruddin said, now I have found the problem. If you give milk to the child changes the side and whole night from right to left, from left to right. And through this movement, from left to right and right to left, churning turns the milk into curd, yogurt. Then the curd becomes cheese. Cheese becomes butter. And butter becomes fat. Then fat becomes sugar. And sugar becomes alcohol. And of course, in the morning, she must have a hangover. I repeat this again. This is how the philosophies are born. A certain explanation for everything, and the mind is very versatile in doing that. Nasruddin replied, now I have found the problem. If you give milk to a child, then the child changes sides the whole night from right to left and left to right. And this is through this movement of left to right and right to left, the process of churning begins. And churning converts the milk into yogurt, and the process of churning continues. The yogurt becomes butter, yogurt becomes cheese, cheese becomes butter, butter becomes fat, Then fat becomes sugar, and sugar becomes alcohol, and of course in the morning she must have a hangover. So you make sure you don't take milk before going to bed, otherwise Mullah had to tell you that in the morning you will have a hangover. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day. Until tomorrow, take care.